Welcome to the slashiest day of the week, Slasher Sunday. Yes. So today, boys and girls, we got another request from good old Teddy Brown. And did I like his movie? What do you guys think? I thought this movie was pretty stupid. But that's okay. I'm going to have a lot of fun talking about this one. Okay, I didn't hate it by any means. It's an interesting one for sure. All right. But, I mean, these are the kinds of movies that I'm all about, right? Stupid 80s slasher movies. So, Teddy, you got me another one here. I have heard of this. This was on my list. I did not know it was on Prime. I'm glad that you brought it to my attention. I'm glad that I have now seen it. Zero Boys. All right. So, we've got some A-Team type opening credits here or some shit. I knew I was in for a treat with that opening. So these guys are playing paintball, and they take it very, very, very seriously. They play paintball without any gear on of any sort. No face masks, no nothing. That's hardcore, especially when a lot of them are aiming for the head. And sometimes, let's focus on where we're getting hit here. It hits here, is a dark red like blood. Then the next scene, the guy shot right here, and it's like this light blood. Like paint, obviously, but it's like light red here versus here. And one of them dresses up like a Nazi for some reason. I don't think you can get away with that in 2019. But I guess in the 80s, it was cool to dress up. Dressing up like Hitler at school isn't cool. Dressing up like Hitler at freaking paintball ain't cool. But this guy does it, and he puts his... Not only is he dressing like a Nazi, he puts his girlfriend up as, you know, a bargaining chip against this leader of the Zero Boys, Steve. Steve wants his girlfriend for the weekend, who, I have to say, man, she is my kind of girl. I'm 19 and I fuck on the first date. Whoa, I think I'm in love. One of the girls in this movie, the character Jamie, is the girl from Night of the Comet. So it's pretty cool to see her in here. And, alright, so they go on out to party, I guess, out in the freaking wilderness, and they hear something, and so they decide to go see what that is. And the girl, the blonde girl, my dream girl, 19-year-old, fucks on the first date. She tells them she heard screaming. They drive. She swears she sees this girl out in the woods running, and so they go to this house, and they knock on the door. There's no one there, so they break in, and then they just decide, let's party here instead of, I don't know, going home. But here, we're just going to hang out here. Why at any point they don't just go? That's what's hilarious about this movie. There's no reason for them to actually stick around. They just do. And it's like, okay, I guess so. Oh man, there's some stuff in this movie. I can't wait. It's funny because I said that this movie was fucking ridiculous, and I could not wait to break things down in it that I found to be absurd. And Teddy actually named like 3 or 4 of them, so he's a little more privy to this stuff than than maybe I would have given him credit for, but it's pretty funny. So this guy, one of the other dudes, has a gray streak on the side of his head. Kind of reminds me of like John Henson from Talk Soup back in the day. I don't know what he does. Oh, he does like that Wipeout. Wait, yeah, Wipeout show now, right? Is he still on that show? Like that big freaking gray streak in the side of his head. There's other characters and actors and whatnot that have it. John Henson. I was a big Talk Soup fan when I was in high school once upon a time. And I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just trying to remember who was on that show before. All right, so The boyfriend decides to play dead in the bathroom upstairs because they're just going to fuck in these people's beds. They have no respect for anybody. And this is the guys who have this house are the ones coming after him, probably for just being disrespectful little cunts. Although they are filming snuff films out in the garage. So maybe a lot of people break into their house and maybe a lot of those people deserve it. I don't know. But he decides to play dead in the bathroom when he's trying to bang his girlfriend. Not the best of moves. If you're trying to get laid, don't pretend to be dead. And if you're going to try to pretend to be dead while laying in the bathtub, don't blink a whole bunch when she walks through the door. It doesn't make you look very dead when you're blinking. Dead bodies don't blink. And so the 19-year-old that fucks on the first date, I don't know what her name is here. If I didn't write it down, probably wrote it somewhere. I don't really care. Here's another tip that it's from the 80s. When Steve's talking to her about the house, she's like, "Oh, it's just probably a fucking." She's like, "It's just probably it's probably just a couple of faggots who live here." Oh, the 80s. And so there's a really weird scene between this dude and his girlfriend in this where they're making out, and then she is like, "You're a tease," and then she's like, "Prove it," because he's like, "I'm not a tease" or something. And so he goes to pull out his dick, and then he's like, "Just kidding." I thought that was a very weird moment in the movie. Like, wait, the guy's teasing her and she wants to have sex with him, but he's not into it? But then in the next sequence, they're upstairs fucking in the bed. I was so confused with that sequence. I was like, huh? Like, was she saying like he wouldn't fuck her right there and then in the location that they were in? Or I don't get that scene. Like he goes to pull his dick and he like literally starts pulling, his zipper down and he's like, "Oh, just kidding." Huh? But then you're fucking your leg. Like, at first I thought they were going around the route of like, he's celibate because he's got religious beliefs, or he doesn't want to fuck till they're married, or whatever. But then they're upstairs having sex, not like the next scene, and some guy's like watching them upstairs, and she's like, "Oh, let's stop." And he's like, "Do you know you're gonna leave me in this condition?" It's like, yeah, man. How do you feel? How do you think most girls feel when you leave them like that? Something to think about, buddy. The sex looks so horrible when they're having sex. Like, at least pretend to be having decent sex. He's just like lamely like kind of laying there and like mildly convulsing. Although with the girl saying she's 19, I don't know how old these guys are supposed to be, but they look like they're my age. Like, they do not look they're anywhere near 19 or even 20. So I don't know what the hell's going on with these guys. And so then they go downstairs, and his comeback to her is, "You have sex like you're at the movies with your eyes open." What the fuck kind of an insult is that? You don't want your lover to have her eyes open, or you don't want your eyes open during sex? Like, yeah, you can close them a little bit. I mean, what, staring directly into your eyes the entire time? Like the fucking Forgetting Sarah Marshall? Hi. I love that girl. I fucking love that girl. Hi. Ah, she's amazing. And then that other girl that he's with, and she's like, I just came. Oh, I love that sex sequence in that movie. Fucking hilarious. But what a weird thing to say. Like, that's his big old comeback to her. A girl will come at you and be like, "You got a small dick." "Well, you have sex like you're at the movies with your eyes open." What the fuck? And then he says to them, "You ever heard of coitus interruptus?" But he's saying that like she's not getting him off, or like he didn't get her off. Coitus interruptus. is pulling out. When you come, you pull out, and that is what that term means. So he's using that completely wrong in this scene, which I thought was hilarious. So I don't know. I don't know what this guy, like if you're going to write that dialogue, maybe actually know what that phrase means. Pulling out. It's very effective. I did it all the way up till I had kids. Now I have kids. All right. These guys have Uzis in their car. Sure. So does Charlie in House 2. Hey, I'm wearing a house shirt. Look at that. Yeah, we just carry Uzis. They find a snuff film out in the freaking, whatever the hell that little back area is. A little, I don't give a shit what it is, like a barn or something. Okay, so then, here we go. So let's get into some of these things. So, they find a body in, some freaking big box, whatever, in the living room. And one of the girls goes to vomit into the sink, and for some reason vomits into her hand over the sink. Why, if you're fucking over the sink, would you vomit into your hand? I don't understand that. I don't understand. And then, after she throws up in her hand, she's like, I'm going to go upstairs and wash up. And they're like, okay. We just found a dead body in this house, and you are going to go upstairs by yourself and just wash up. Really? Maybe. By yourself, yeah. Maybe leave? I don't know. Go up. There's a sink. You just threw up in a sink in your hand. Wash your hands and get the fuck out of the house. I wouldn't worry about washing anything. In fact, I'd use that as a deterrent. If they came at me, I'd be like, vomit hands! Probably wouldn't deter backwoods hillbilly killers, but whatever. She doesn't know what they are. They could be germaphobes for all she knows. Maybe that's why they kill people. You don't know. But get the fuck out of the house, really? I'm going to go upstairs by myself. And then, so these guys go out and there's a lock on this door. So both of them, two guys, take a step back and with Uzis fire at least 50 to like 100 shots. Like, A, I don't think the guns would hold this much ammo. B, if it did, they'd be out. And C, for one lock, they blast almost like at least 50 bullets into this lock. Hilarious. I was like, what? One shot? Two, maybe. I don't know. Yes, shooting a lock doesn't really work supposedly, but 100? I don't think it would take that much. The door wouldn't even be there anymore. It's overkill. It's going after a cockroach with a bazooka, right? All right. And then, so they see the girl in the room, right? So they see the chick in there right before they blow the lock off. Then, somehow, miraculously, this fucking guy, whoever was in there with this girl, goes in, while they're outside, in the 10 seconds that this takes, blow the lock off, they come in the room, unless I saw this incorrectly, but I don't think I did. There's a tape in there, because there's a video camera in the room where she is being held and tortured or whatever. So then he's filming this girl on the TV. So in the time that it takes, as they look through, they see the girl, and then they're like, we need to get in there. Open the lock, girl's gone. They go to the VCR, press play, they see the footage of the girl, what they just saw, and at the end of it, it says, to be continued. So this guy, in 5 to 10 seconds, correct me if I'm wrong, Teddy, but I swear when they looked in there, they saw the girl sitting there. So if I'm correct on this, the guy got the girl up, got her out of the room, came back, shut the camera off, rewound the footage, somehow edited to be continued at the end of that footage, and then left with the chick all in 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Right. Okay. Anyways, moving on. I was like, to be continued? Really? They had to throw that in at the end? How the fuck could that possibly be at the end of the tape? But as I said, did I see that wrong? Did they look through and see the video playing on the TV and think it was the girl? How could you mistake that? How could you mistake a 2D image on a television when you saw that? Maybe they just heard it and we saw the footage, and then when they walked in, but it was off. And they had to turn it on. So the guy, like, I don't know what the fuck happened in that scene. I didn't rewind it to see it again. I was taking notes in the moment when I looked up, but that's what I thought I saw. And I'm like, what? No matter what happened there, it didn't make any sense. All right, moving on. I watched this like 3 days ago, so I got to catch up on my notes really quick. Then they decide to waste, I don't know, half the ammo or more that they have. They seem to bring a lot of ammo with them, because then they take like 2 full clips each and just unload it on this barn. For whatever reason, I don't know. Let's destroy the place. Just destroy the camera. And this, and like, shooting up the walls? How is that destroying the place? It's not like there was like a collection of like snuff films right there and they're like, let's destroy this, and they shot those up. They're just randomly firing bullets around in a room. Like, you know, maybe let your fucking, you have your friends out there. Who knows where they're at? They could be right out the door. Bullets travel, okay? They don't just stay like in a 10-inch perimeter. Like, they travel a very long distance. You can shoot somebody. These guys are very irresponsible. Zero boys indeed. But yeah, just why would you waste so much fucking, that's so stupid. And then, in addition to this, they're carrying around a bundle of sticks of dynamite. Dynamite! Why would they have dynamite? Because they're TNT. Then one of their guys gets an arrow through the chest, and if I'm remembering this correctly, he's the only character that dies in this movie besides the 2 antagonists. But there is a 3rd antagonist, dun dun dun, sequel, or I guess they all died because he came after that, who knows. And then the girl who survived tells them, I don't care if I survive. That's when you get left. And then, so, oh my God. So one of the girls is running with them and she falls into a spike pit, right? Somehow, she miraculously misses all of the spikes in there, which is fine. I mean, it's possible. But in order for that to have occurred, she's probably 5 foot something. She's a good 3 feet from the top of the freaking thing, at least. So this thing's at bare minimum 8 feet tall. She had to fall straight down and land on her feet and standing straight up, not moving at all. The force would have brought her down, her ass something, and she would have been impaled right up the cooter. Cooter? Ugh, I never used that word. Why the hell did I use that word? Gross. I don't know. Pussy sounded too vile. Vagina sounded too silly. I just went with cooter on the fucking fly there, and I regretted it. Ugh, I don't want to ever use that word again. Terrible. Fuck it, the pussy. She would have taken one right up there, and I just, yeah. No way. How did she land that? It was like a freaking dismount at the Olympics or something. She's like, tens. She didn't fall at all. And then the guy goes and falls in there. Now, then they run away after they shoot this guy who's been impaled by all the spikes, which is a great moment. Then there's a rope trap, which I'm not sure how this one worked, but most of them I didn't get to see. This was when I was writing down notes about the pit because I thought it was so fucking hilariously stupid. But I saw that like their foot get caught and they both went up. So the way rope traps work like that is you put a rope out there, right? And you put something in it, and if someone walks over it, whether it be an animal or a person, you have to be standing on the other end of it to pull it for that to go up. So in a lot of these movies, the traps just somehow spring themselves. Somehow, these things just magically come to life and pull people upside down. And somehow, these people never hit their face on the way down from being pulled upside down. They're always just like, whoop! Like simple, like their face and their body and everything wouldn't hit the ground. But then this guy goes and he hacks at this girl's rope and cuts her free, which he could have held her hand when he did that, and then when she came down, she wouldn't have came down so hard. But, you know, you're frantic. It's fine. But then he cuts himself down. That would wind you so hard. The distance he falls onto his back, onto the hard dirt there, oh, man, he would be doubled over. So then they're going, and there's this, the main killer here, the second one, the last one. Well, I guess there's a third, but we don't really get any interaction with him. He comes out of the water, shooting a harpoon out of the water. Now, I don't know how harpoon guns work. I'm not going to lie. But I would assume, knowing very little about them, so correct me if I'm wrong, I've seen Jason use one in freaking Friday the 13th Part 8. I've seen some others, but very little. But it fires one at a time, right? Like, there's not two. Like, you fire one and then there's another one already ready, right? Is that not how harpoons work? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But he shoots a harpoon, comes up out of the water, and the thing, like, he's in the water. So it's not like he shot it and then instantly reloaded it. He comes up out of the water and there's another harpoon already in there from the one he shot through. And he shoots it again. So it's not like it was a mess up. They meant to have him have another harpoon in there for him then to shoot at the girl as well. Or no, the guy twice. He shoots him twice. Do harpoon guns hold two bolts? They might. I just was very surprised by that. So I think it's a fuck up, because I think you have to reload it, each one. But then she takes a stun gun, taser thing, and she hits like a pond of water with it. And yet another thing that I don't know how much before it would dissipate, the circumference and the volume of water versus the voltage and from that hand thing in the water. Would it shock him that much water? I don't know. I don't think so. I would be very curious. Like, if I was to take one of those and put it in my pool and shock, would it shock people in the water? I don't know. I don't know how much water. That would be something Mythbusters needs to care about. Mythbusters needs to do a Zero Boys episode. That's what I say. So yeah, essentially what this movie boils down to is don't bring a bow and arrow or a harpoon gun to a gunfight. You're going to lose. Especially if it's against the Zero Boys. That's all I got to say about this. Thank you, Teddy. I always love doing patron requests. They really are a blast. I give you a lot of shit. I have fun, man. This is a fun movie to talk about. So much ridiculous shit in it. Hopefully, some of these things can be cleared up for me. Tell me there's two harpoons. Tell me the television thing was wrong. I don't know. Tell me whatever the fuck the other one was. Prove me wrong. I'm happy, all for it. But this movie just, you know, I found myself just to be fairly bored a decent amount, and the decisions everyone made, it was so eye-rolling, but not like in a super fun way. It was just like, really, you're gonna stay in the fucking house after you find a dead body, and then when the guys come back, be like, not even the first thing you say to them, and then when you tell them, it's like, it's what's in there, and they open it up, and then it's like just not even that big of a deal. It's, I don't know. It's so fucking unbelievably unrealistic. Well, yeah. Anyways, different kind of slasher, more of like a backwoods hillbilly kind of thing, but it fit. So screw it. Thank you to Teddy. Thank you to all my patrons. If you want to request a Slasher Sunday, Monster Monday, a series, anything, go on over to Patreon and check it out. Adios.